Hi everybody, welcome to Mike's Classic Pinball. My name is Mike, and I've got dogs barking in the background. I apologize, not even my dogs, I have a cat. So today we're going to be doing a couple of videos. I've already worked on one for Champ that will be out probably today, I don't know. But we're going to be working on the 49 Super Shuffle Alley from United. I was actually seeing Josh yesterday, who this is going back to when we're done, and he's very excited to see how progress is going on this. We've gotten a lot done so far, and we are going to get a lot done today. So before we get started, a couple of things. I want to do a quick service announcement. We're going to be doing a little work on the relay motor. Now, I did some poking around online, talked to some friends, and getting a hold of a new motor for this is impossible. It's not going to happen, at least not for something less than absolute drug money and perhaps a satanic sacrifice. So what we're going to try and do is we're going to clean up that motor. That's on the list for today. I'll show you more in a little bit, but I actually had somebody recommend this. No, never, ever, ever, ever. This has no place getting near an EM game. The only reason I have this is for not only household uses, but for when I was working on die-cast cars. This is not good for a game. Couple of reasons. Number one, this will gum up really bad. WD-40, it does its trick, but it also gathers dust from nearby and gums things up. So this is nasty business. You don't want it anywhere near any of your gears or motors or lubrication of any kind. When we do the motor, what we're going to do is we're actually just going to use a little bit of good old 3-in-1 oil. That's by far preferable. The other thing I wanted to talk to you about, chatting with a friend of mine, this is not a paid promotion or anything, but I wanted to share with you a business that a friend of mine is working on, and I wanted to share a little bit with you and get you guys on board with this. It's called YOLOmeal.com. This is a very cool place. I've been checking it out over the last week, and it's a bit like Yelp or Google reviews, but it's for food and it's by you. It's not by some, it's not controlled by, some Yelpy thugs with a mob mentality or the grand overlords of Google or anything like that. This is for you by you, and it's a brilliant way to find some really good food nearby. It's also great to share your favorite place and your favorite place to go eat, your favorite food, and you can go in, see what other people are enjoying. You can go try it out and you can upvote it. It's very cool, and so I just wanted to share that with you. There's a link down below, and go check it out. So, for the 49 United Shuffle Alley, let's go take a look at what we're going to do today. Okay, so now along here we have obviously the relay board and a couple of score motors. Now I have a problem that we're going to discuss in just a second here, but we also have up along here, this is the rollover switches. I have one of these where the little post has broken out. I'm having a hard time finding something that'll fit in there. Now I have bought from Pinball Resource a wire rollover version of this, and I'm not 100% sure if it's going to work, but that's one of the things we're going to try today. Nice back glass. So this is the trough where the pucks collect. It is pretty yucky, pretty nasty. We're going to pull that. We're going to clean it. And then we're going to use our brush and our cleaners, and we're going to do all along the alley down here, down to where the puck comes out, because it's a bit slow going. So we're going to clean that up. I'm going to go through Jones plug and clean up some of the wiring harnesses a little bit. We're going to check all the rest of the switches on that. I've gone ahead and checked this motor. Everything is good on here. This is a little bit less of a problem than this one. What we are going to do is go through and clean the switches on here. I'm going to show you the best way to clean switches for a reset bank. Now, normally I wouldn't even touch these because most of the time I have found that they are without problem. And I'm just wasting my time and potentially causing issues that I don't need to cause up here. But so what I want to do is show you anyway. If you do need to clean these, I'm going to go ahead and show you how we do that. Then we're going to do down here, and I want to show you the best way to clean these. I've covered them in videos before, but I just want to give you another quick show on that. Now, another Jones plug down there that we need to clean up. There's some crap on it. Now, this motor, here's the problem. This is a sealed motor, and this is 30 volt. It's 550S, and it is actually, thank God we've got all of our stuff on here. You can see it's actually a 20 RPM motor. But so here's what we have to do on this. This thing, what happens is this, and this is where I detected the problem. When the puck comes down here, that engages this switch. Now this switch engages this motor so that it can start the next function that it needs to do. I've got the plate out on this. I've actually got it right here. But so we're going to check all these switches, make sure they're clean. We're going to clean all of that up. And then with this motor, I was actually looking for a replacement. That's not going to happen. This is from 49. So what I've done here is I'm going to pull this motor out, and I've marked the one wire and the side that it goes on because these are pretty much the same color and I don't want to fuck it up. Now, this is a sealed motor. And working on these is tough. We're not going to WD-40 the thing up because that's evil and you'll go to hell for doing it. The problem is this little cam up here. What happens is this is almost like an electromagnet, and this thing will engage and push in when it's spinning, and that will then turn the rest of it over here. It won't without it, but it'll engage and turn it. But I think something's wrong because when this switch activates, it doesn't activate long enough for this to pull in, and it should. So what we're going to try and do is we're going to clean it because we can get access to this little EM or electromagnetic cam up here from the top. So we're going to try and clean it from the top and from the sides here. We're going to degrease, and then we're going to use a little 3-in-1 oil. And we'll see. We'll go from there. So I think that's largely what we're going to try and accomplish today. Now, the other thing. So this is the coil that fires and pulls in the reset bank up here. Now, it's a little loose, and look at this action, okay? Nice and gummy. This is like molasses in January. And you can see that that's wiggling way too far, and it's not resetting like it should. And somebody's obviously tried to adjust the spring there, which means that spring is boned because it's been sitting like that for way too long. But so we're going to pull this off, and we're going to clean that as well. So that's kind of the plan. So let's start with, it's a good question. I have no idea what I'm going to start with, but I'll join you back with you once I have decided. So we'll see you in a minute. Okay, so Mr. No Decisions has made a decision. We're going to pull this first, and we're going to clean this up. Now, I know the coil fires good enough because it does its job when the game fires. It actually does its job correctly. But we're going to pull this, and we're going to clean this, make sure that the armature is loosened up and clean, so that it doesn't act like it's 73 years old and dying, which it is, but let's make it better. Okay, so that's rebuilt. This rotates on here. This is a lot smoother, and yeah, much better. So on to the next thing. Okay, so next section that I'm going to tackle is this. Now, I have bought a wire form to replace this I bought from Pinball Resource, and the thing is, on initial look, I don't think it's going to work. So basically what it is, I don't know if you can see, but some of these have posts in them that sit underneath the switch, and that's kind of how the spring works. But on this one, that post is gone. Now I can tack something in there, I can screw something in there, but I just want to take a quick look and see if this has any smegging chance of working. Now, of course, I've taken pictures of this, and some of my friends are like, Mike, why do you take so many pictures? Well, because I'm going to fuck it up. And I need to figure out how to get back. Mike, why do you use such a long screwdriver? It's funny. No, actually, the reason I do is because sometimes I need more torque than that. Now, this is how this sits in there. So, orient this way. No. Because the wire form goes the other way. Shit, this isn't going to work. So I'll come up with something else for this. I'll come up with another way to do that. I think what we may just do is find a bolt or something that we can put through there, a nice small bolt the same size. Because all that's there to do is to just hold up against this switch and push back. Because when the rollover then happens, that makes contact, and that's what triggers it. But that wire form I spent all that goddamn money on isn't going to work. So this is a right rollover from Pinball Resource. If any of you guys need this, holler. I will send it to you. Okay, let's move on for the time being then. Okay, so I'm not going to lie, I kind of enjoy working inside this casket style body because now I can have things set up and I can show you a nice close-up of everything. Now, this particular relay is the first shot relay. This, once everything is set for frame, this locks on, and that's the first shot. And then once you've taken that shot, the second shot relay locks on and then releases and goes to the next frame after. But I want to show you my way of cleaning these switches. It's pretty simple. First thing I want to do is make sure that this spacer is good, and it is. I've already owned the coils. This one looks a little wonky, but it is actually okay. Now, you can see as the fingers touch, there's a little bit of pressure that comes, so it moves it just a little bit. Now, I like that when it kind of does that, because what that does is it gives kind of a self-cleaning. And doesn't allow as much gunk to build up. So what I'll do is, this is a flex stone file, and I'm reaching around the camera here, sorry. And I'll let it go, and I'll just kind of hold it there. Give it a little bit of a... There, now those are clean, and I check again, make sure that connection is good, and it's still going good. Now, something I will do on rare occasion, I'm not going to in this one, but I'm just going to show you real quick what I would normally do. This is my multimeter, set it to continuity, to buzz if there's continuity, and I will actually use clips to attach to the top, and I know that that's good. And then likewise with the next one, sometimes a little hard to tag on here, down here. So I know that the points are actually making contact. And sometimes if you do it up at the lug, it gets a little weird because if certain circuits are open or closed, it won't. It's weird. It just depends on the game. Now, somebody chicken shit soldered this thing closed. It looks like it's okay, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to bend this back a little bit, make sure that that's not making contact where it shouldn't. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and I'm going to clean these relays, and I've done likewise already over on the score motors. And I've already gone and done them up on the reset bank in between shots. Anyway, so I'm going to go through and clean these, and we'll see you in a few minutes. Okay, so those are done. Didn't take very long, did it? It only took 10 seconds. And like I said, I've done these switches as well already. And I did the switches up back here. So we're looking pretty good. Now what we're going to move on to is actually we're going to pull this motor again, and we're going to see what we can do with that. In fact, I'll show you here. We won't even need to cut. This would be great. So I'd actually put a screw back in to hold it while I was doing the switches. But so I've done on here is I've marked the one. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go grab my soldering iron and I'm going to take this off. I'm just going to desolder it, and then this way I'll know where they go. But we'll pull this out and we'll try and start doing some cleaning and degreasing on this thing. Desoldering. Ooh, smoky time. I just had a dab of solder on there. Now, something, little tip I wanted to share with you. This solder is really old. So sometimes that solder is going to be problematic. But if you just add a little bit of solder to the connection, it makes it easier to desolder it. Booyah. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. Now you can see on the side of this, you can get at all of the gears and everything down here. And I don't know if you can see, but they're pretty nasty. But the tricky bit is in here, because this has that little magnetic push thing in it. And this thing doesn't have the greatest action on it. So what we're going to do is we're going to degrease down in here. We're going to degrease along here. And then we're going to clean it up a little bit. Then we're going to hit each of this with a little bit of 3-in-1 oil to try and clean this up a little bit, because this is obviously a sealed motor. Now, I can't even tell, honestly, what the ohms on this coil are supposed to be, and I can't find documentation anywhere. But it's seeming to be okay. So I'm hoping that it is good, and that it just needs a good cleaning. Otherwise, I'm going to have to jerry-rig something, and I'm not looking forward to that. So we'll go through and do this, and I'll see you soon. Okay, so while we're waiting for the gears to dry up outside, I just wanted to show you something quick. When I am doing these little bad boys, these Jones plugs, I use a brass brush. Now, the reason I use a brass brush is because it does the cleaning and it gets into where it needs to be, It gets the stuff off, but one thing it doesn't do is scratch stuff up. Whereas a steel brush or steel wool, which you shouldn't use on a game anyway, never does, or always does, whereas this does not. So a bit old, this game. So I just wanted to share that tip with you. Brass brush, definitely worth it. Next thing I wanted to show you real quick was actually this. These are small little, reasonably firm bristle brushes. They're nice little hand size, and they're available at your local Dollar Tree for, guess what, $1. What I wanted to use this for, now I use this thing for a lot of stuff, but what I wanted to use it for in particular is to get down and get all of the fluff and the crap out of the trough. Because this trough is pretty bloody nasty. So definitely worth it. Now I have another one of these I've set aside for this game, because when you're dealing with a shuffle alley, you deal with the sand for up here, and this is a great thing to have to just brush that off. So I got one for that, specifically for this game. But then the other thing that's good with this is once I've got everything cleaned up, this gets into small spaces so that I can clean stuff up down inside the cabinet, or in the casket in this case, and it works a treat. So definitely worth $1. Okay, so I wanted to show you this. This is the motor. What I've done is I've degreased on the inside here. Trying to get a good camera angle. I've degreased all of the stuff inside here, and including down in here, which is where that little cam operates. It's a lot freer now, and it's spinning a lot better. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hit these with a little bit of 3-in-1 oil, and just kind of, I'm not going to goob everything down like it's some kind of, oil party or something. I'm just going to go ahead and give it a little bit of a dab there and a dab around the gears, and just make sure it's good. Now WD-40, of course, will gum up eventually, whereas 3-in-1 oil should last a good long time. So let's hope that was it. Then we'll go ahead and we'll mount it back in the game. Okay, so with the motor, what I need to do is I need to solder these points back on, that one and that one. Now the thing is that it's a little tough to do that with just two hands. And I'm not in the position to do a big rig up, so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put it here, and I'm going to do it from there. So what I'm going to do is just hold it in place like that. And then down from underneath here, I can go ahead and get the points soldered on. So we're going to do that and get everything remounted. Okay, so that is now soldered in. That was actually easier than I thought it was going to be. So we're going to go ahead and remount the motor. This can be a tad tricky, and so we're actually going to do real quick. Pull that down and out of the way as best we can. Come on, you son of a bitch. There you go. Didn't mean to punch you. Okay. Now that we've got that, this is the plate, and it's got endless amounts of crap all over it. So we're just going to give it a quick cleanup. All better. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put that back on. I'm going to tighten these up. And the thing is, we're going to tighten them up anyway, because that's one of the things you want to do on EMs, is go through and give a nice little tighten to all of your switch stacks. And make sure that the bakelite hasn't corroded too badly. Okay. Now this thing is a bit of a nightmare to put back on, because it has to go in the right spot. Cut a little bit of this out. Go. Now I can bring it back slowly. Okay, so that looks like a good spot. Now I've got down here the screw for mounting the plate. Again, you want to be careful, make sure that you got this in line properly. Son of a bitch. Okay, right there should be good. Yeah.
Is there any chance you can look at the dishwasher today?
Sure. That was my wife wanting to know if I could go look at the dishwasher, because apparently, since I can do pinballs, I should be able to fix the goddamn dishwasher. Okay, it's on there nice and tight. Okay, everything looks good. So we have an interesting conundrum here. I'm taking out the back trough, and I've got them all done, but we've got this one screw right there. And as you can see, it's been absolutely hammered to death, and I can't get a screwdriver in there. So we're gonna have to play with that, figure out what we can do there. Okay, so we did manage to get it out. It was a little bit of a Tetris puzzle. There's this black tar painted all over it. It's nasty. I'm assuming there's a reason, but God knows what. So we're going to disassemble this and clean it, because you can see down in there it's pretty freaking yuck. This is going to take some time, so we're going to take lots of pictures, disassemble this, and then try and get it back together and get it ready to go back in the game. The other thing that we are going to look at is this. Now, this is the canvas that keeps the puck from absolutely slamming through the back of the game and destroying everything. It's pretty warm, but it's actually not too bad. It does have a hole in there, but I think we can patch that up because I'm not sure I'm going to find this right now. And then we're going to tape it back up or staple it back up into the game. And we'll work on that while we're working on this other one. Okay, so here we are disassembled. And as you can see, this thing is just 50 shades of ew. I've got everything kind of sorted out. Now, this is the piece of rubber that goes along the guide rail. Now, I'm not going to find one of these, but I'm going to try. But what I'm probably going to do is just kind of give some life back to that rubber. Then I'm going to take my drill and a wire brush on my drill, and I'm going to just beat the shit out of this thing and get all of this crap off of here. Then we'll get it reassembled and put back in. Much better. Much better. Yep, that looks good. Okay, so what I've actually done along here is I tacked it back in, and then up behind where the break was, I've actually just put a piece of rubber up behind there and a piece of tape behind the cloth. So that should hold. It should be good. Now we're going to try and do the magical Tetris dance of getting the damn trough put back in the game. So wish me luck. Okay, so that's back in and looking good. See, I don't even have one. But I got to tell you, to be honest, that was a bit of a bitch to put back in. But we got it. It's nice and secure. I am going to hunt down some more canvas for the top of this, but for now I think that'll do just fine. That's now going down in, and that should roll just fine. So, yeah, so that takes care of that particular project. Okay, so there's one other thing we're going to do right now. We're going to take the tray off with the pins, because I don't know if you'll be able to see down in there, but there's a light socket that's come loose and is hanging down under there. And we're getting close to the point of testing this game, and that is just going to cause all manner of hell. And in fact, it's on the one that's broken, and I'm guessing that may be part of why. So we're going to go ahead and take that off, and we're going to adjust that. So as you can see, we did indeed have one light socket that is completely out of whack. So what we're going to do is we're just going to there. That should take care of it. Now, of course, we're going to take this pin off anyway because I have a new pin coming for that, but at least this will keep it out of the way. The other thing, as you can see underneath there, it's quite dirty. So we're going to give that a clean and a coat of wax. Just make that look better. Okay, so not perfect. There's a couple of big stains in here I can't really get rid of, but it's a lot better off than it was. And this isn't really going to be seen by anybody, so I'm not too concerned, just as long as it's protected, which we've done. So, yeah, so let's go ahead and put the pins back on, and let's keep going. All right, so that's back on, nice and easy. I got to say that little plate is a bit of a nightmare, but that's all right. So that's back on and good. Now we are gonna be pulling all of this off again when we do the final, like, really big cleaning treatment. But for now, we're just working mostly on mechanics. So back on for now, and yeah, so that's that part done, and now we can. I think we can actually start moving on to some testing. I think we've been through everything. Let's take a look. All those steppers are all done. Motors are done. Switches are done. Everything here's cleaned. Everything here's been checked. Let me plug this little bad boy back in. Yeah, so everything's kind of cleaned and done now. So we're going to go through the front door. We're not going to worry about right now. I've got it kind of jerry-rigged to start a game. But so let's do a little testing, see what we can find. But as far as work on it today, I think that's it. We've been working on it for a handful of hours now. So work-wise, I think we're done for today at least. So we'll do some testing, see what's left to do, and go from there. Okay, so there's still some bugs getting it to start up properly, so I've manually started. I'll do that in a second, but I just wanted to show you this. This video is more for Josh than anybody, but oh, let me put a little bit more. Obviously some lights, and there's still a lot to do on the game, but this is now counting properly. Hallelujah. Counting up, now frame 2, good. Shot. Tens out. Game over. Cool. So now let me show you the bug when it's starting. Okay, game resets and goes to frame 1, but now score motor's spinning. And my strikes and spares relay is stuck on. Now if I manually increment it a couple of times, then it stops. Then I just set that back down to frame 1. So that's what I have no idea what's causing it. It's probably something simple, but we'll work on that later. So yeah, it's playable and doable, so pretty dope. Okay, everybody, so it's been a nice long day working on machines. We'll get back to this one during the week, and I'm going to work on this during the week. As you guys saw, the game is pretty much playing now, but there are some bugs left, some things that I have to manually tweak in order to get it to play. Now, I was going back through the game and kind of figuring out some of the logic as to what's wrong, because I can't get a schematic for this to save my life. I checked with Pinball Resource, and he said, no, good luck. But what's happening is this: when I start a game, the score motor turns on and the strikes and spares stepper unit keeps incrementing or trying to reset, but it won't reset all the way. Now I've checked the switches, they look good, but that just keeps trying to finish stepping down. If I increment it a couple of times, everything runs and then it plays okay. Now if you get a strike or a spare, it will log as a strike or a spare, but then the game locks up and won't go to the next frame until such time as you manually increment the frame or turn the score motor. So my logic in that is that I've probably, in rebuilding the strikes and spares stepper unit, I've probably fucked it up somewhere. But so I'm going to work on that during the week, see if we can get that done. Because if that is the problem and that solves it, then the game mechanically will be good to go. Because it's actually, once you get that going, it's playing great now. So as you can see, I've got the, I went ahead and got the sand for it. I got it from Pinball Resource, Sunglow number 5. And so, you know, the relay motor that we were having a problem with, it worked. My thanks to Andrew Harris on the pinball, the EM Pinball Facebook group. So thank you, dude. As always, you're a big help, as is everybody else. I thank you for that. So to wrap up, I just want to say, go ahead and go check out my friend Larry's yellowmeal.com down in the description, and give it a try. Let's make this thing grow for him. And then leave me any questions you have on this, or stuff that you'd like to see, or on this one, or any other questions in general. Happy to answer them. But until later in the week, thank you, everybody. And be sure to like, share, subscribe, comment, all of that stuff. And it always makes me feel good when I see everybody responding. So thank you, everybody. And I will see you either later in the week or next week. Have a good day.